You didn't arrive here by chance. Time is running out. Heaven has given you exactly 6 minutes to receive this revelation before it's too late. If you think this is an exaggeration, just look around. Doors that should have opened remain closed, answers you were seeking never arrived, and the dreams you nurtured have begun to wither. This is not coincidence. It is interference, and it's closer than you think. Something has been sent against you, an invisible arrow, an attack disguised as routine exhaustion, everyday struggles. But these are not ordinary difficulties. They are strategic obstacles. Heaven had to intervene, and that is why Michael, the Archangel of War, the Sword of Fire, the Defender of the Chosen, has been mobilized. However, Michael does not act without an order. He does not invade without invitation. He protects, but he must be activated by faith. Your prayer is the password. Your declaration activates the divine plan. That is why time is short. While you hesitate, the enemy advances. While you delay, the damage increases. But there's more. Your house is being watched, not by men but by spiritual eyes seeking loopholes, searching for vulnerabilities to exploit. If Michael does not take his position now, something could infiltrate. Something you will not escape with medicine, advice, or psychology. This is a battle that must be fought in the spiritual realm. Do you now understand why you are here? It wasn't the algorithm that led you here. It was a warning, the call of heaven. Now, the decision is yours. Will you ignore it like before, or will you stand firm like a true chosen one? The next part of this revelation will unveil who you truly are and what lies behind your interrupted dreams. Write in the comments, Michael reveals what is hidden. But do not write it casually. Declare it with faith. This is not just a comment. It is a seal, a spiritual key that activates a powerful, invisible alliance between you and heaven. The spiritual realm is in motion. Right now, a battle for your destiny is being fought. When you write this phrase, you are doing much more than composing words. You are releasing a spiritual decree. You are marking your presence before heaven as someone awake, vigilant, and ready. You are declaring, I am here. I am listening. I am prepared. Many ignore this simple act, but in the spiritual realm, it is recognized as a sign of positioning. When someone takes a stand, Michael begins to move. At that precise moment, the enemy's strategies start to collapse. Masks are removed, false alliances are exposed, and hidden intentions come to light. What once seemed confusing begins to align, because darkness cannot withstand a chosen one rising in faith. This is what you are doing now, breaking free from spiritual passivity, shattering emotional blindness, taking the first step toward full revelation. The phrase, Michael reveals what is hidden, is not just a beautiful statement. It is a divine code, a heavenly permission. When written with faith, it signals to heaven, I want to see. And God honors those who desire spiritual sight. At this moment, veils are beginning to fall. You will understand why everything seemed to go wrong suddenly, because someone was working silently to close what God had determined to open. But now, Michael has descended, sword in hand. The name of that person, the one who has been used as an instrument of delay, confusion, and weariness in your life, is already circulating in the spiritual realm. It has been mentioned, it has been revealed, but not to you yet. Not because God is withholding it, but because there is a divine timing for every revelation. And that time is now. Michael stands at the door. He needs only your signal to enter, with judgment, with the sword, with truth. Have you felt the weight of an unseen presence? That feeling that something or someone is draining you, manipulating you, hindering your progress, it is not paranoia, it is spiritual perception. Michael, the Archangel of Revelation, has already descended on a mission to expose everything. But understand this: he will not act without your permission. Heaven respects your free will. The battle will only begin when you give the command, and that command comes from your mouth, your faith, your decision, your refusal to continue living in darkness. That is why this message has reached you, because Michael has already moved. He has heard your silent cries. He has identified the saboteurs surrounding you, those who embrace you with a smile but curse you in secret, those who say, "I am with you," but silently celebrate your struggles. Their names are already recorded in the spiritual dimension. Now, the final step is for them to be revealed to you. And when they are, it will not be for vengeance. It will be for your liberation. Because truth frees, but it also separates, and this separation is necessary. As long as you cling to what heaven has marked for removal, your life will remain stagnant. Michael stands at the door. His sword is drawn. The next choice is yours. What comes next will confirm everything you sensed but could not explain. Why, out of nowhere, things kept falling apart. Someone has risen against you, not with physical weapons, but with words, envy, intentions disguised as kindness. They watch your steps, your achievements, your joy, but within them dwells an ancient poison, resentment against your divine elevation. That is why heaven sent Michael, because the hidden plot against you is now being unveiled. This is not just exhaustion. This is not mere misfortune. There have been contrary prayers, whispered wishes for your downfall, spiritual manipulation attempting to divert your destiny. But their time is over. Because when heaven intervenes, no darkness can remain hidden. Light enters. And when it does, everything in the shadows begins to tremble. God allowed you to walk unaware for a time so that you could develop discernment. But now, He has trained you enough. Now He shows you. Now He reveals. Through this message, He declares, "I saw everything. I heard everything. I allowed it until now. But now, I myself will act." And Michael, with the sword of fire, is already standing at the threshold. He has been authorized to cut what must be cut, to block what must be blocked, to remove what has drained your energy, your faith, your peace. This battle was not just against you, it was an attack on your purpose. And when purpose is threatened, the heavens move swiftly. Do you feel it? That holy urgency stirring within you? It is the sign. The next part of this revelation will unveil exactly where this sabotage began and why it always resurfaces when you are about to win. Stay vigilant. The veil is falling now. Do you know why you are still standing despite everything? Because while hell was plotting your downfall, heaven had already placed Michael at the front line. You cannot imagine how many times you were surrounded without even realizing it. How many traps were dismantled before they could harm you? How many of your tears became the fuel that ignited the angels into action? You see only what was left behind, but heaven sees what never even reached you, because it was protected before the impact. You thought it was misfortune. You thought it was your mistake again. But it wasn't. It was deliverance. It was a strategic deviation. It was Michael shutting doors that seemed perfect, but would have led to destruction. Position yourself now for something greater. Comment: Michael protected me, and I am still standing. This phrase activates a spiritual memorial. It places a seal on battles silently won. This revelation is a declaration to heaven, hell, and yourself. It is an acknowledgement of the one who has kept you standing. And do you know what's most astonishing? What you once perceived as delay was simply God setting the stage. Because now, what has been blocked will begin to unlock. And when it happens, because it will, you will remember this exact moment, this seal, this divine revelation. The waiting season is shifting into the season of fulfillment. Not all smiles bring light. Not all presence brings peace. Not all declarations of, "I am here for you," come from a pure heart. There are people around you who have mastered disguise so well that until today, you believed they were blessings. But Michael sees what your eyes could not, and he is about to reveal the ones who embrace you with venom. Have you ever wondered why certain conversations leave you feeling unsettled? Why is there a heaviness in the atmosphere after being around specific individuals? Why, after sharing your dreams, everything suddenly starts to fall apart? This is no coincidence. This is spiritual contamination. Poison does not always come in the form of an open attack. It often comes dressed in praise, in promises, in smiles that mask envy, in judgments whispered behind your back. And the worst part? This person could be closer than you think. They might be in your house. They could be someone you defended, someone you prayed for, someone you cried for, yet they are being used to drain your energy, confuse your mind, and steal your direction. But Michael has seen it, and he is already on his way. The time for deception is over. The era of spiritual manipulation is ending. Now is the time for revelation. Write in the comments, "Michael reveals who is silently poisoning me." This declaration is more than mere words. It is a prayer that heaven takes seriously. What will be revealed may hurt at first, but it will save you in the end. God no longer wants you surrounded by false alliances. He wants you protected, purified, and equipped with sharp discernment. You are about to understand why certain people entered your life at strategic moments, and what was truly behind it. Heaven wants to open your eyes, and you are just one step away from seeing what has always been hidden behind a smile. Before this trap turns into reality, heaven will intervene, because God has already risen from his throne and declared, "I am coming." No more illusions. No more faith that ends in frustration. No more walking beside people who admire you publicly but sabotage you privately. You have been through this before. You trusted too much and suffered for it. But now is not the time to blame yourself. Now is the time to wake up. The enemy does not approach with a threatening face. He comes with kindness, with charm, with alluring promises. He studies your emotions, your wounds, your deepest desires, and sets traps with the appearance of divine opportunity. And that is precisely why heaven is awakening you. God knows your heart. He knows your capacity to love deeply, your desire to do right, and he knows how vulnerable that makes you. But Michael has arrived, and with him comes the gift of spiritual vigilance, the ability to sense when something is wrong, when the atmosphere shifts, when a person's words do not align with their spirit. This is not paranoia. It is discernment, and it is activating now. Comment with authority. Heaven has awakened me. I will not be deceived. When you write this, the spiritual realm aligns with this truth. Pacts of silence are broken, emotional chains are severed, and your mind begins to clear from the illusions. And here's the most powerful part. What is about to be revealed will take you to the root of the cycle. Every time you rise, something or someone tries to pull you back. Michael will expose it. He will uproot what has been hiding behind smiles, compliments, proposals, and empty promises. And when that happens, you will feel the air lighten. Because what was suffocating you, even though invisible, has begun to lift. Nightmares that felt too real, waking up with a heavy chest, as if you fought all night against something unseen. exhaustion that does not fade, even after resting, sudden conflicts that arise out of nowhere, painful words spoken without reason, loved ones distancing themselves inexplicably. All of this has a spiritual origin. These are not coincidences. They are warnings from heaven, and you can no longer ignore them. The spiritual world is trying to wake you up, to show you that what has been happening around you is not normal. It is strategic. It is part of an attempt to destabilize you, to confuse you, to make you abandon your divine purpose. These signs you once dismissed as random events? They were never random. They were in heaven screaming, "Wake up, you're at war." Michael is near. He has already moved, because he does not wait for evil to arrive. He steps in when a chosen one is about to be deceived. And you are marked. You carry a prophetic seal, which is exactly why the attacks have intensified. Comment now. Now I understand. This phrase is a prophetic seal, a declaration that will shift the spiritual atmosphere around you. When you write it, heaven interprets it as an agreement, a covenant of vigilance, a spiritual response that activates layers of discernment within you. You are no longer in the dark. Now you know that fatigue, unexplained conflicts, heaviness in certain environments are not normal. They are spiritual signs, and heaven is training you to recognize them before they grow into attacks. True spiritual power is not merely about winning battles, it is about detecting them before they strike. What comes next will no longer be confusion, it will be clarity. Because Michael is unleashing upon you something rare. The ability to sense the origin of attacks before they manifest. You will feel it when a presence enters the room. You will discern when a word has been spoken against you. And knowing this is the beginning of your ultimate liberation. Heaven does not simply wish to protect you. It wishes to empower you. Comment now with conviction. Now I understand. Prepare yourself, because what will be revealed in the coming days will transform the way you see the world around you. Michael has already received the request. The permission has been released. And the name of that person, the one at the root of everything that has held you back, will be revealed. But it won't happen just any way. It won't come with noise. It will come in heaven's way, as a dream, a prophecy, an unexpected revelation, or through a messenger God will use at precisely the right moment. You could be washing dishes, driving, lying in bed, and suddenly, the name will appear, a thought, a whisper, a deep knowing. This will not be your imagination. It will be a divine message. This will be a spiritual response. Michael revealing what has been circulating in heaven for a long time. Because you asked, because you activated it with faith, because you positioned yourself as the chosen one. And when it happens, you will feel it. You will sense a shift deep within you, a hidden truth finally coming to light. Do not ignore it. Do not rationalize it away. Do not doubt it, because it will unfold exactly as heaven planned. And do you know why? Because before this revelation arrives, you will begin to notice strange movements in your surroundings. People distancing themselves, intense emotions surfacing unexpectedly, objects breaking, heavy silences filling the air. Everything will start aligning with the moment of truth. Those who are paying attention are already writing down these signs. Comment now, I am ready for the name. Write it as an act of faith declaring, Lord, I am no longer running from the truth. I am ready to see what you want to show me. And when you write it, something shifts in the spiritual realm. Before the name is revealed, something is coming, something already approaching. You must be spiritually alert to recognize it. You must consecrate your home, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, now. Because a powerful presence is about to cross your threshold, and it carries a sword, fire, protection, and revelation. Michael is coming, and where he steps, nothing unclean remains. Wherever he enters, hidden things are uncovered. Where he touches, chains that have bound you for too long will be broken. But for this cleansing to manifest fully, your home must be prepared. Anoint your door. Use olive oil, consecrated water, whatever you have, but do it with faith. Declare that no more spirits of confusion, scarcity, struggle, or fear will enter. Pray in every room. Declare your space as heaven's territory. Speak out loud if needed. Call upon the presence of God over every wall, every window, every corner that once carried silent tears. Because as you pray, Michael moves, and he does not come alone. He brings an entourage of light sent to reorganize your spiritual environment. Everything rooted in darkness will be expelled. Everything disguised will be revealed. But this cleansing will only happen if you open the door, not just the physical door, but the spiritual one. Comment now with faith. My house belongs to heaven. Michael is welcome here. This declaration carries weight. It is a seal. It breaks cycles of oppression. It grants heaven permission to move powerfully. Because the visit is already confirmed, the atmosphere is being investigated. And what will happen when this presence enters your home can no longer be postponed. Before Michael arrives, something very subtle will shift in your surroundings. Something you may never have noticed before, but will now become unmistakable. If these words move your spirit, if your heart races, if your skin tingles, if you sense something invisible happening in this very moment, it is because it is. This is not just another message. It is a divine call. It is a code your spirit recognized before your mind even processed it. And if you have made it this far, it is not by accident. You are being positioned for something greater. A truth is about to be unveiled. A key that has been hidden, waiting for the exact moment to be delivered. And that moment is now. Comment now. I am ready to know the truth. Not just to interact, but to seal in the spiritual realm that you are available, that you desire to see, that you are no longer afraid of the revelation heaven is about to give you. Because when you comment, you sign an invisible pact between you, Michael, and God's purpose for your life. This declaration is a prophetic code. It releases angels. It repels what is not of God. It activates visions, answers, and direction. It shifts the spiritual atmosphere. And before you even expect it, something will happen. A word, a name, a sign, something that will reveal exactly why everything has felt stagnant and who has been behind it. And the most freeing part? You will never again walk in darkness. This light has been turned on, and it is here to stay. Something will be removed from your life unexpectedly, perhaps even painfully, but necessarily. And when it happens, do not rush to fix it. Do not try to restore what heaven has already chosen to cut off. It could be a person you cherish, a relationship that once seemed promising, a routine, a habit, a frequent conversation that unknowingly became an emotional prison. Something will be uprooted. And even if, in the moment, it feels strange, confusing, or even unfair, you will understand later. Because heaven sees what you do not see. Heaven hears what is whispered behind your back. Heaven perceives the hidden intentions behind kind words. When God sends Michael, he does not just come to protect you from external threats. He also comes to cleanse what is within. And this cleansing will be painful because we attach ourselves, we form bonds, even with the things that harm us. But God knows what must be removed so you can step into what is coming next. You are in a spiritual transition, And every true transition begins with separation. Do not be afraid if certain things start disconnecting. Do not despair if some doors close without explanation. This is heaven performing silent surgery on your story. It is God separating the wheat from the chaff. It is Michael uprooting what has hindered your growth. Comment now. Lord, remove what is not from you. This prayer is an act of courage. It activates heaven's scissors. It releases the angel of separation. And when you declare this with faith, you will feel it. A lightness, a peace in the midst of what once felt chaotic. Because what secretly drains your energy will be eliminated. And in its place will come clarity, direction, deliverance. What happens next will prove that the loss was never a loss. It was the beginning of your liberation. Do not fight what God is unraveling. Do not hold on to what heaven has already placed in disconnection. There are things you don't yet understand, but they will make sense soon. One day, you will look back and wonder why you held on for so long. God never removes out of cruelty. He removes to protect. He takes it away first, before showing you why. Because if He revealed everything at once, you might not have the strength to let go. You asked for answers. You asked for deliverance. You asked to be used, to grow, to live in divine purpose. And God heard you, but before He lifts you, He must empty you of everything occupying the wrong spaces. People who seemed like blessings but delayed your journey. Situations that appeared as doors but were traps in disguise. Comment now. Lord, take away what is not from you. This is your moment of transition. Michael is moving. Heaven has already spoken. Now it's time to align with what God is doing. If God is undoing something in your life, it is because He sees what you have yet to perceive. Now, write with courage. I accept what God is undoing. This declaration cuts invisible chains, severs toxic dependencies, and breaks emotional ties that hell attempted to entangle you with through false promises. When you declare this, you are telling heaven, "Do what you will, Lord. I trust you." And when you release what no longer belongs, something new will begin to take root. Before this new season arrives, you will experience a deep silence. And it is in this silence that God whispers the most profound new beginnings. You were heading toward error without realizing it. The intention was pure, the plan seemed right, your heart was sincere. But the path was wrong. Before you stepped into a dead end or fell into a costly mistake, heaven intervened. Michael surrounded you, not to harm you, but to redirect you. That's why everything began to slow down. Doors that once seemed promising suddenly closed. Contacts vanished. Opportunities evaporated. You felt that something was off. But in reality, it was going exactly as planned. Because if God had not interrupted that path, you would have been lost. You would have wasted time, energy, and dreams. You would have trusted the wrong people. You would have invested where there was no covenant. But Michael was swift. He blocked the disaster before the impact. Now, you are being led down a new path, one you may not fully understand yet. It may seem longer, lonelier, slower, but this is the path where the blessing will not be sabotaged, where what is yours will not be stolen, where you will not need to force, manipulate, beg, or compromise. Because when heaven redirects, it also sustains. Comment now. Lord, redirect my steps. This phrase is more than a surrender. It is an act of trust. It is letting go of the steering wheel and allowing God to navigate. It is saying, I prefer your way, even if I don't understand it now. And when you accept this redirection, you will begin to recognize new signs, a lifting of burdens, a wave of peace, a new clarity in your spirit. because heaven never reroutes without already preparing an even greater destination. There are too many open doors in your life, doors that have been left ajar out of fear, hesitation, or a silent hope that things might change on their own. But heaven speaks now, with urgency. These doors must be closed, completely, without guilt, without attachment, without looking back. As long as they remain open, the enemy will continue slipping in through them, silently, subtly, disguised. He will continue draining your strength, confusing your mind, altering your emotions, and trapping you in cycles that should have ended long ago. There are people you still keep close, even though you sense they throw you off balance. There are conversations you continue having, even though you know they no longer serve you. There are connections you hold on to, even though they have lost their purpose. Michael stands before you with the key and the sword. The key, to lock away, once and for all, what has weakened you for far too long. The sword, to sever ties that you never had the strength to break alone. But he can only act if you decide, no more. Because God does not force you to close doors. He gives you discernment to choose freedom. Now declare with authority, today I close the doors that heaven did not open. And when you speak it, something spiritual will shift. Toxic relationships will begin to grow cold. People who drain your energy will naturally distance themselves. Messages that used to destabilize you will stop coming. Because heaven moves when you take a stand. And when those doors close, another will open, one that you will not have to force, one that will come with peace, clarity, and confirmation. But before heaven shows you the new, it must ensure you will not return to what once wounded you. It will hurt, because deep roots cannot be pulled without touching the sensitive. It will feel heavy, because ties cannot be severed without letting go. It will require a fight, because patterns do not break without resistance. But heaven never promised comfort. It promised deliverance. And all deliverance begins with cleansing. A cleansing that at first feels painful, but soon, oh soon, comes a relief you didn't even remember existed. You will cry. You will feel alone. You will wonder if you made the right decision. But soon after, peace will descend upon you, a peace that cannot be explained, a lightness of spirit, a clarity of mind. You will sleep differently. You will wake up with new strength, because what was contaminating your thoughts, your decisions, and even your emotions has been removed. And when that happens, heaven breathes within your home. The cleansing Michael is conducting is not only around you, it is within you. There are traumas being eliminated. There are curses being broken. There are emotional cycles silently dissolving. You may think everything feels stagnant, but in the spiritual realm, the transformation has already begun. And when everything is clean, the new will have space to arrive. Comment now. I choose truth, even if it hurts. This declaration is the beginning of your healing. It is the moment when you stop running. It is the moment when heaven looks at you and says, now I can act fully. And while you face this process, something will shift. A revelation, a message, a sign. Because after cleansing comes the visitation, and it is closer than you think. To attack a chosen one is to touch the altar of God. It is to start a war that the attacker may not even know has begun. But it has already been recorded in the heavens. Because when someone conspires against a chosen one, even in silence, even through judgments, gossip, contrary prayers, that person is provoking the fire of heaven. And Michael does not ignore such offenses. He is the keeper of God's promises. He is the defender of those who carry divine marks. When heaven identifies a real threat to the destiny of a chosen one, Michael enters the battlefield, not with soft words, but with a drawn sword, with judgment, with precision. And that is why, in recent days, certain people have begun to expose themselves. Their poison is surfacing. This is not a coincidence. It is Michael revealing the battlefield. Comment now with spiritual authority. Whoever touches me touches the altar of God. Because when heaven moves, justice follows. That phrase is not just words, it is a shield, a seal, a limit. When you declare it, heaven rises around you like a wall, and in the coming days it will become undeniable that heaven has already begun to act. Michael does not only protect, he reverses the attack against the attacker, and that process is already unfolding. Like this message, subscribe and share it with 3 people you love, not because the algorithm needs it, but because heaven awaits your response. This is not just commitment, it is prophetic obedience, a seed planted in the spiritual realm, a simple act that releases an invisible harvest. This action activates heaven's protection over you and those connected to you. You asked for a sign, for direction, for spiritual covering, and now that the revelation has arrived, heaven watches your next step. Because faith is not just an emotion, it is movement. And when you move with faith, even through simple acts, heaven interprets it as your yes. And God acts upon that yes, sending reinforcements, liberations, and angelic intervention. Michael is waiting not only for your words, but for your actions. Sharing this message is not just sending a video, it is spreading an anointing. It is placing others under the same divine protection that reached you. Declare, "This protection will not stop with me. It will cover the ones I love." Comment now with faith. My faith is activating protection. This phrase seals what has already begun, ensuring that what started in the first moment continues to unfold. When you like, subscribe, and share, do not see it as routine. It is obedience, and faith in action opens doors that no force of darkness can shut. Believe me, after this gesture, something will shift in the next few hours. A sign, a peace, a confirmation. Because when you respond with faith, heaven responds with fire. You thought it was abandonment, that God had been silent, that your prayers echoed in the void, that you were alone in the pain, the waiting, the desert that seemed endless. But what you called silence, heaven called strategy. God was never absent. He was silent to protect you from deceptive voices, to train your discernment, to position you for what only silence could reveal. While you cried, believing you were unseen, Michael was there, in the darkness, sword in hand, watching, waiting for the exact moment to act. Because not all battles are won with noise. Some victories are forged in the shadows, behind the scenes, in the depths of the soul. Heaven was there the entire time, waiting for you to spiritually mature enough to receive the full revelation. God did not remain silent because he forgot you. He remained silent because he trusted you. He knew that even without hearing, you would still believe. Even without signs, you would still pray. Even without answers, you would still hope. And it was this perseverance that activated the heavens. This faith without proof moved Michael. This endurance is now breaking the cycle of silence, to begin the cycle of revelation. Comment now with discernment. Now I understand the silence of God. This declaration closes one season and opens another. It signals to heaven that you are ready. What comes next will no longer be silence. It will be direction, movement, clarity. Because when heaven is silent, it is preparing for battle. And now, Michael is ready to act. With that comes the answer you thought would never arrive. Declare now with spiritual authority, what is mine is sealed. What destroys me will be taken away. Do not limit yourself to thinking about it. Do not simply feel it. Write it. Comment on it. Mark it in the spiritual realm, where no darkness can erase it. This statement is not just words. It is a sword, a decree, a silent cry from your spirit that crosses dimensions and reaches the throne of God. Every revelation you have received has led you to this moment. Every word prepared your spirit. Every sign, emotion, and truth that struck you was aligning you with heaven. And now, it is your turn to seal it. What belongs to you, the promise, the peace, the protection, the guidance, is being sealed by angels. No human hand will take it away. No poisonous tongue will break it. No enemy arrow will penetrate it, because Michael is standing guard over everything heaven has assigned to you. And what has drained you, exhausted you, weakened you, will fall. It will crumble before your eyes, because you are now under a new spiritual covering, an era of separation, alignment, and strength. Comment with conviction. What is mine is sealed. What destroys me will be taken away. This is your answer. This is your weapon. This is the end of oppression and the beginning of a journey where every step is accompanied by angels. You are no longer alone. Heaven recognizes you as positioned. Michael is already moving, and the next event in your life will prove that you did not declare this in vain. If this word resonated within you, if something stirred inside, if your eyes filled with tears, if your soul trembled with recognition, do not ignore this moment. This is not just another message. It is a divine summons. It is an answer you didn't even know you were waiting for. And if you have reached this point, it is because heaven has chosen you to receive even more. Activate the notification bell not just to follow the messages, but because the next revelations will be pieces of a divine puzzle that Michael himself is helping you put together. With each message, new clarity will unfold. A spiritual code, a liberation explained, a confirmation of the decisions you must make. You will soon understand why certain doors closed, why specific people disappeared, why heaven went silent. But above all, why Michael protected you even when you knew nothing. Because he was there in the shadows, standing watch over you in the invisible battle. Comment now with living faith. I acknowledge heaven's care over me. This is your response to the call. This is your step of obedience. And when you position yourself, heaven moves. Because now protection is activated. And what happens next will open your eyes in ways you have never imagined.